What is going on, everybody? Hashtag Data Spartan back with a new interview today. And I am joined by Tinsley English. She is a very, very smart person in the industry, over 2 decades of experience in the brokerage space. She's also a current senior VP of Operations. So, Tinsley, thank you for joining me.
Lance, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Thank you for agreeing to this. So, the topic that I really want to dive into today is we currently have 5 generations working in the workforce right now. And I know, especially in the agency space, being able to manage those differentials in a harmonious way can be challenged. So, if you can add a little bit of context on the why and what you're seeing going on, that will be fabulous.
Sure. So, Lance, I see this at every level in operations and being the voice of the field. I find that coming from my generation, which is Gen X,
Mhm.
we were more of we came in, we put our heads down. We didn't really question the why of what we were doing. We basically just did as we were told and didn't question the process. And I feel that Gen Z is coming in with a different expectation of what they want to be doing. And they really want to understand the why and
Yeah.
how they, as individuals, tie into that why. And furthermore, the vision and mission on a larger sense for the organization. So I think they're more purpose driven.
Interesting. So, where do you see that disconnect then? And from a business standpoint, how do you see that impacting the running and the growth of these individual businesses?
I think that there is an opportunity to realign people with tasks. And are the tasks that we're asking them to perform value adds for our clients? Are
Mhm.
they value adds for their own growth and development? If you're not feeling engaged every day, and I will say that everybody's going to have to take out the trash, so to speak. Everybody's going to have to do things every so often that they don't want to do or that seem repetitive. We're not going to completely engineer that out of any job, but we can provide meaningful work for this younger generation coming in by looking at their task, seeing what we can do to use maybe a third party resource or potentially layer technology solution to take out, let's just say, loss runs. We're always going to have to get loss runs. Are we using AI to pull those loss runs? Or are we using a third party resource to pull those loss runs? And then if we need a loss summary to accompany those loss runs, is that something that we really want that new person to do? Or is that something we want to um, farm out as well? And I kind of feel like everybody needs to know how to do these things. Like
Yeah,
everybody needs to understand how a certificate of liability works,
yeah.
or how to put a loss summary together. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what they need to be doing day in and day out. Client interaction is super important. And I would much rather see somebody, yes, understands the inner working of a certificate of insurance or a loss run, but also spending more time with the clients to understand what their needs are. And the changing evolution of their business seems to be more enticing for Gen Z.
Interesting. Yeah, it reminds me of a Bluey episode where it's talking about boring stuff is important too. So, if you are watching this and you are in either leadership or management at an agency and you are struggling to get that mix right between the generations inside your business, what would you recommend to that person, or what would your sort of top piece of advice be?
And this is a person that's running the agency.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're somebody that has to manage, the breadth of various generations.
I would say realize that we do have 5 generations, and what are the motivations? Do your research on what each generation wants, and also what is motivating your individual team members. I try to understand what each person on my team really wants out of their job, wants out of their career, because it's not a one size fits all approach. I love to start with a personal vision statement, and that is kind of combining somebody's core values with the impact they want to make in the next 3 to 5 years. And when somebody's got their own quote unquote elevator pitch of why they're showing up to work every day, there's a lot more buy-in than
Yeah.
just seeing some company website and seeing some mission that's a little bit diluted or doesn't really align anymore. So find out what motivates each individual employee and try to customize it, just like you would customize your relationship with your client and their needs. If you want to get the best out of your employees, you really need to understand why they're showing up to your workplace every day. And then the other thing that I would do is with remote work, it's revolutionized the way we do business, how we can conduct meetings across the country without having to do any travel. But we've lost something in that the transfer of knowledge is
Mhm.
not there like it was when I was coming up in the business, where I could pop my head over a cube to Sandy, who's been working for 25 years, and
Yeah.
get my question answered quickly. There needs to be some kind of transfer of knowledge, whether that is in office. And if you want people to come back to the office, you have to entice them back to the office. And it's not putting ping pong tables in the break room. Find out what really draws them there. And maybe donuts drew us in when we were younger, but find out what is important to your older employees and what is important to every level, so that you can have those moments that matter and that buy-in at every level and that amazing transfer of knowledge. A lot of people that I see now
Mhm.
don't want to fully retire, but they don't want to fight the market, or they're kind of at the end of the road with their client service, but they love young people and they want to stay on in a training capacity
Mhm.
or potentially a quality assurance capacity. So try to focus on each individual employee and where they are in that stage of their development. It does take more time
Mhm.
on the front end, but I believe that it pays big dividends on the back end.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a fabulous point, and that resonates with me because it's like you're right. Like I'm not motivated by money, so just throwing money at me isn't going to work. So yeah, I really appreciate those insights. So Tinsley, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate you. Everybody watching, hope you got some good value. I know I did, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, Lance.